All right, so I got my morning view. What happened here? Everything went blurry. What? Why is everything blurry? Oh, there we go. It's like my camera's not awake enough. That's the problem. There we go. Not as nice as, but mind you, I was down here earlier. So I got all those things ready to go. It's actually quite warm down here. I think I cranked up the heat a little bit too much last night. It's zero. It's like zero with no wind, so at least I won't be in the dark this morning. It's Saturday, November 1st. Oh my God, where did the freaking year go? You tell me. You tell me. Wow. Okay, guys. It's the morning after I released. I released Crystal Eyes for Halloween. I was gonna wait till today to do it, but I thought, oh, no, I'll do it on Halloween. I don't know if anybody will watch it or not, but few few things I noticed. It's funny how a song comes out. Like, it's a good song. Like, I mean, it's a good song. Is it the best song ever recorded? No. But from the BR1200 to the CD, you lose a little bit of sound resolution, right? Or sound quality. And then putting it into Windows Movie Maker, it compresses again and you lose a little bit more. And then uploading it to the YouTube, it loses a bit more. So yeah, it really overcompressed. Like the 8 string was pretty compressed to start with. So yeah, I did it kind of muddied up even more than what the original copy is. But it's the limitation of my equipment too, so I don't know how I'm going to get around it. There was a couple of spots that ended up peaking and distorting, which on the recording, the BR1200, that multi-track recorder, it doesn't do that in there. So I don't know if it's just in the translation of, the sending it from one format to the other. I think there's some of that going on. Things to make note for the next song, to see if I can get a little bit more clarity. The drums, I think they came out fairly well. Mind you, I only got 2 mics, right? And the bass drum, the problem is what it sounds like the song's a little out of time in some spots, but it's actually not if you could actually hear the kick pedals, but you can't really hear the kick pedals well. So, there's not much I could do about that. I got 2 mics, that's it. Like I say, it sounds like a 1982 recording, you know what I mean? That is what it is. But for the next song, which is Pinto, which I got brand new guitar strings. Wow, look at my guitars. I don't think anybody came down here last night. I blocked off the driveway just so the trick-or-treaters wouldn't come down here. But yeah, I got a Charvel waiting for 16 degrees and 61% humidity. Okay, so I got the Charvel strung up. I still got to string up the bass with these bright things. That's the only bass strings I have. So I gotta get a few more sets. So I'm gonna tell like all my family members, like, that's the only thing I want for. Don't waste any money on me. But if you're going to, the only thing I want is guitar and bass strings and maybe drumsticks and stuff like that. I'm good for picks. I'm good for all that else. I just socks, underwear, guitar strings, and bass strings. That's it. I don't need anything else. Like that's. I make it as easy. Don't look for any other present other than that. I don't want anything other than that. I need guitar strings and bass strings. And buy the cheapest ones you can get. Write down the gauges. Like, just buy me 1 pack each. Or collectively buy me 1 pack. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's how I view it, because it's November 1st. So yesterday was Halloween. Today is like, out comes the Christmas music, right? So it's already been out like about a week before. Like, they really milk the holiday things. They really do. Some people get really, perturbed on it or whatever. Striper, the band Striper, remember that Christian metal band from back from the 80s? They've been putting out stuff the past couple of years. I don't think they've ever stopped. But they just put out a song or two, and they put one out called something Holidays. It's kind of like what they were singing about is like how, like, like the commercialization of like Christmas and Halloween and all that, how it overtakes, Jesus and stuff like that. They made a point there. They made a point about, I guess, consumerism and stuff like that, like where to put, misplaced faiths and stuff like that and all that. I'm gonna do a video on a band called Dogma. If you haven't seen that band, I started looking at, like, I usually don't follow satanic bands just because it's not my thing. Fine, right? But last night it was just like, I guess because it's Halloween, there's going to be like all kinds of music videos coming out. A really kick-ass band. They were formerly known as Sons of Bonham. Some of their material's a little on the edgy side. Alexi Leho was the guitar player. He was quite good, but drugs, alcohol. I don't know if he offed himself or if he just OD'd or whatever, but it was like tragic and happens to a lot of people like that. The remaining members formed a band called Warmen. Oh my God, they're good. They are really good. Like, that's like thrash metal to the pedal to the metal thrash metal. It's great. It's kind of like metalcore meets thrash metal. But they're just like, it's fun. It's fun to listen to. But I like to see like just how far gone some people might get with their act and stuff like that. So there was a band called Dogma. It's these basically satanic nuns. They're lesbian. They're a bunch of angry lesbians. But what they really are is, and I already made a video on this, even on this channel, about the cult of Lilith. That's your origins of feminism, right? Is the cult of Lilith. And like you always hear about like Lilith Fair for women's empowerment. Like where they get all these female musical acts and stuff like that. Most of these women that partake in this have no idea they're being, used in a cult ritual, right? So Sarah McLachlan or whatever, oh, it's Lilith Fair. And they'll give you like the post-it notes of who Lilith was, but they wrap it in this poor women's suffrage type of thing, whatever. But what they don't really tell you is how vile the virality, if that's a word, of Lilith, right? And so I'm looking at this Dogma band, and they do some cover tunes and stuff like that. They sound good, they sound really good. But they were like, it's like, okay, is it a gimmick or do they really believe what they're into? You know what I mean? And I think, to get people into a band like that, they have to be kind of on the edgy side to begin with. So satanic lesbian nuns. Okay, yes, I get it. Okay, that's the aesthetic. That's the act. Okay, but is it an act, right? Or so some of the members got screwed over in the band and kicked out, and like there's all this kind of stuff, and it's like everything you would think that would happen to a degenerate band happens, right? It's not rocket science to figure out, when you're promoting that kind of stuff and you're trying to, really sell it. Like each one of the band members is named after some sort of a satanic or like a siren or like there's Lilith. There was Recula, which is like a folklore water nymph, but it's all some sort of a female archetype that is anti-male, anti-family, distraught, all that kind of stuff. That guy needs a muffler. Yeah, I'm going to make that call. That was really loud. So anyway, as I'm watching a couple of videos just to see what they're about and stuff like that, and then I see like the reporting on them and stuff and the controversies and stuff. I say, okay, well, let's see if they're like Motley Crue kind of controversy or are they, like King Diamond kind of controversy, right? They were neither. But it's like I can understand, like it's bad messaging for women, number one. But I think most people, like the promoter of it, okay, and this is what kind of tells you whether what kind of people are actually doing these kind of bands, right? The true believers, like in black metal, you get true believers, like these guys will go and burn down churches and shit. You know what I mean? They're crazy, right? Another black metals, it's an act, right? Alice Cooper was an act. You know what I mean? He can separate the man from the act, right? Alice Cooper runs a Christian camp. Like I mean, a lot of these guys, like they know how to make money. Is what I'm saying. They know how to make money with their act. And I was looking at it, and I'm just like, these women have talent at their instruments. There's no question about that. And the aesthetic is there and everything like that. I'm just like, but they could turn that around and change the messaging into something less cringe. You know what I mean? Like the whole satanic thing kind of gets cringe after a while, right? Whether you're into it or you're not into it, because it's so fake, right? Like it's such an act, right? That's why the ones that really want to make it in those genres, whether it's black metal, and I like black metal, I do, like not all of it, but like the stuff that's good is like fucking phenomenally good. Um, like Black Braid, fantastic stuff. Very, of course, it's very, it's death metal, right? Like, or it's black metal is like, it's whatever. But there's some of it is just like, okay, sacrifice this and all, and it's very larpy, right? So then you get these people that are like the true believers that are into it, right? And these are the ones that fight with the music industry, not realizing that, okay, no, you're a brand, you're a product, you're putting on a show. If you can't understand it like that, it's gonna be bad for you, right? And so the true believers, they always get thrown under the bus and stuff like that, and they can't handle it, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens to these three members that got kicked out of the band. Will they have a coming to Jesus moment? Realize that, okay, no, you're, like you're not going to get what you think you're going to get out of it, right? And or do they double down and say, no, we're the real thing, and then start doing really self-destructive stuff that you've seen people do? Like the true believers in these music, they're not really about the music, they're about the satanicness, right? About Satanism. That's what they're really about. And the problem with that is, well, many, hedonism, egoism, all that stuff usually puts people on a bad path, whether they're satanic or not. And it usually costs them dear. So they end up drugs and stuff like that. And, all the stuff that the angry, edginess and stuff like that. It's just like, okay, here's all the people you've hurt in your life for no reason other than you were just angry. You know what I mean? And okay, you want to write songs about dealing with anger and resentment or loss or whatever. There's many ways to do that, and stuff like that. Which brings me to another band that I absolutely love, and that's Angkor. They have songs that are just so touchingly good. You know what I mean? Like it's like, and it's like, if you can convey that style of songwriting, okay, if you can do that, the fulfillment you would get with that, like that's what I strive for. Is that I'm listening to some of their older stuff. Some of their older stuff is a little more primal. It's a little more raw because they don't have the budget for the studio and stuff like that. But the archetype or the architect in that band is really David, right? David Romao. He pretty much writes the songs, ranges the songs, and everybody puts their inputs in it. And then Jessie Williams, well, she's just a phenomenal vocalist. It's between her and Fabi Ernie. Like
Fabi Ernie, she's like I love that woman. She's is so freaking, and it's just like watch their live performances. It's like, it's like wow. If I could ever pull off shows like that live, that'd be just like they're just so good. You know what I mean? And like it just it hits. You know what I mean? Like it's like wow, that's when you're really going after the art of the craft and not the aesthetic and not the all the the egoism. That's when you're really giving the audience something, and that's got to be so fulfilling. That's why those people are never really that far gone. You know what I mean? Like they never get so upset, and they're all controversy about them all the time doing stupid stuff, right? They're not all whacked out on drugs and all that stuff because they have all this release of emotion that thousands and maybe millions of people around the world can connect with. Great song to start with is Anchors. If you haven't watched the Shogunai series, the 7-part series, it's 7 videos. You got to start with Dark Beat, which is chapter 1. Then it goes Prisoner, Stereo. No, it goes, sorry, it goes, uh, what do you say? Dark Beat, a phenomenal song. And like you gotta watch the video and watch the storyline, or you'll be lost. And that's what happens to a lot of people when they jump into it. Once they figure out it's a story, then the videos. It's like, why is this girl hitting this guy with a pipe? Okay, in one video. Okay, why is this girl crying? And there's like a pill bottle on the ground. What's going on there? Okay, why is this girl holding a guy who got shot? You know what I mean? A little bit of spoiler there, but go watch the storyline. Chapter 1, Dark Beat. Chapter 2, uh, Prisoner. Chapter 3, Oblivion. And Oblivion, I'm going to talk about that in a second. Chapter 4 is Stereo. Chapter 5, Venom, the craziest metal song ever. It's such a good, and watch the walk and open air live version of that song. Like it's so good. I'm just okay. I know when they do live shows they touch things up and all that. I understand all that, but even so, like it's still the performance is just bam. Then you've got Amber's, which is absolutely when you like you really get into the story. It's like that's so heartbreaking because I know widows. I know, like, what they're going through. You know what the song is about. And then Shogunai, which is a they're all masterpieces. Like my favorite Anchor song is the one I'm listening to currently. You know what I mean? Like, but you watch the whole story and how it unfolds, and now they're on to Endless Stream, which I can't wait to see where that journey is going to go. And it has a very what's called anime kind of. It's different. It's completely different from the Shogunai stuff, right? But the song Oblivion, why it's so good. Okay, it fits with the story. It's about dealing with loss and stuff like that. But when you really understand what inspired her to write it, it's like completely heart wrenching. It's her dad committed suicide in 2020, and it's like, okay, I know it's not specifically about him, but when you listen to the lyrics, you're just like, oh, that poor girl. You know what I mean? Like, this is what she has to wrestle with, right? And anybody that would have to wrestle with that. So that song, when they sing it live, it's very emotional for them, and because so many people can, you know, bond with this song, right? And this is what creates the healing process and stuff like that. And when you take that into contrast with a band like Dogma, which is about egoism and angry feminism and stuff like that, that like there's no comparison which band is on the enlightened path. You know what I mean? Like a more enlightened path, right? Even if you wouldn't say they're one's a Christian band, whatever. The other one is anti-God. But the other thing is just like what I've never understood about like I could understand people that are angry with churches and stuff like that, like in the clergy and stuff like that. Okay, I get that, but I never understood why anybody would be angry with Jesus. Whether you were religious or not. You know what I mean? Like it's like okay, the man is like basically the perfect man. Like he like like everything he did, most people would agree with. You know what I mean? Like going around healing people. Like, okay, well, how could you be opposed to somebody going around healing people, right? I mean, okay, well, let's say, okay, well, I don't care about other people. Hey, the guy could turn water to wine. I mean, that's a pretty cool party trick, his first miracle, right? Making a bunch of alcoholics. Yeah, there we go. Stuff like that. So, and then, like all this, like all those teachings and stuff like that. So even if you don't believe in religion, like just the teachings of Jesus, if you were to actually follow it in your life, okay, and I'm not preaching here, but I'm just saying it's right hand path, it's good words to live by, you can't go wrong. Do it anyway, you know what I mean? Whether you're religious or not. So to go against that, it's kind of like going against your self-interest, right? For something that, chasing things that you won't be fulfilled on. So I don't know. I just thought it was a neat observation, stuff like that. So my music writing is not satanic. It's I like dark. I like melancholy stuff like that. Like the Elvedi stuff is kind of like more like about the ancient lands of Galia. I love the Elvedi stuff because of the it does have a theme based upon folklore and stuff like that. Well, folk metal. Like, I mean, how do you get better than that, right? So I'm just like, okay, so I'm going to be doing different genres of metal, pretty much. At some point, I might do a blues song. At some point, I might do an actual country song, stuff like that. But like the country doom metal song that I just put out, if you want to call it that, it the concept I like. You know what I mean? Like the concept I like, right? Because it's not something you normally hear, right? So it's like, okay, Pinto is the next song up, and that song's more just, I wouldn't say happy go lucky, but it's going to be more uppity beat. That song is really okay. The lyrics are right hand path, inspiring, all that stuff, help you lift you up a bit. But the that song's going to be about the guitar solo. Like I really hope I pull that one off, even better than I did for Crystal Eyes. Crystal Eyes, yeah, I know where all the mistakes are in there. You don't have to tell me. But that's like home recording with 2006 technology, with no budget, right? So you look at it for what it is and then compare it to your favorite band and your favorite recording. You could see what you're paying for when you go to a studio, right? So for me, I got to tighten up on the timing a bit more because the songwriting is good. Like that I'll die on that hill every day. My songwriting is actually pretty good. Now, when I do my black metal song Tomahawk, that one's going to be a really interesting one because I got to incorporate, basically, sort of folk instruments in there. There's going to be violin, mandolin, a recorder. All right, this is kind of, guys, this is what you're going to be in for. Yeah, yes. This is like a, what size of a recorder? There's so many sizes of recorder. So you're going to get those kind of sounds, right? I can get my fingers in there. Yeah, anyway, I'm not playing loud enough to keep the notes consistent, but you get the idea. So you're gonna have that, and then a violin come in, very kind of Acadian sounding, like old, like cross between Celtic and old French, Acadian French, Métis sound, because like Canada. Okay, a lot of people don't know this about Canada, but we have like very distinct fiddle sounds. Like the Ottawa Valley fiddle sound doesn't sound like the Nova Scotia sound. The Nova Scotia sound doesn't sound exactly like the Newfoundland sound. and the and those don't sound at all like the French Métis sounds. And then you've got like like the francophone, Franco-Ontarian fiddle sound, like, and then it just goes and it goes and goes. Because you have to understand, like, there's parts of Quebec where, especially in the Far East, where there's people that still they speak French from 500 years ago. Even modern day people in France don't speak that dialect anymore. they can't understand each other. Like the French is so, and I've talked. It's like real Parisian French. These people are so hardcore. Like, we have like French separatists and stuff. Like, you guys know about that, but these guys are so hardcore. They want to separate from Quebec because it's not French enough. They want to separate from the separatists because they're not French enough. Like, it's like, no, you're speaking bastardized Quebecois. You're not speaking France. Français. But it's like, it's so, like, as soon as you hear these people speak, even their English accent is just like, it's like when they do speak English, it's like I can barely understand. Like, it is such a strange accent, right? But the culture part of it is the spoons and the fiddle, right? So I'm not saying I'm going to put spoons in a black metal song, but it hasn't been done. Maybe not. Maybe I should. You know what I mean? Because the song's called Tomahawk, right? What's it about? Well, it's. I'm not going to say it's a ripoff of Black Braid stuff. I don't know if those are native guys or whatever, but anyway, the Black Braid stuff is really good. What was it? The Dying of the Sacred Stag, whatever that song is fucking good. It is really good. Yeah, it's a bit, like there's an aesthetic to it. It's a bit hokey in some ways. But like it's black metal, as good as black metal could be. It's as polished as black metal can get without sounding like something else, right? And it's really good. It's really, really, really good. It's black metal, so it's like a death metal, black metal kind of thing. But it's like black metal either goes satanic, ritualistic, or it goes naturistic. If that's typically, I don't mind the naturistic black metal. The leaves are dying because it's death time for the winter. Like that kind of stuff, right? And we pay homage to the death of winter, whatever lyrics you could think of that would go, rather than like, okay, cannibal sacrifice or whatever. Oh, get American.
Reg!
Hey!
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, I thought you were my squirrel.